I think we all have friends and people that we come in contact with in our lives that exude happiness. They're always smiling, they're always approachable, you just want to hug them, you want to be around them, you want to call them a friend. And that's what happened in 2005. It was my first time to meet Karin. And ever since then, and every place that we've worked at, which has been several in the radio world, I would seek Karin out to give her that hug and to say hi and to catch up. The last time I got to hug Karin was in March when this whole COVID thing started. And before I left the building, which I thought might be for the last time, I had to go seek her out to give her a hug, goodbye. I never knew that that would be the last time that I would get to hug Karin, but it was a great hug. I went down to the second floor and said hi to her and caught up and hugged her and said that I loved her and that I would talk to her soon. Karin is and will always be one of those friends to me. I loved her very much. I'm honored to be speaking at her celebration of life. I sure wish I could have been there. Karin, I love you. Thank you for your example. Thank you for your friendship. And I can't wait to hug you again.
Is this microphone working? Thank you all for coming today. I'm Aunt Norma. I tried to meet everyone on the way in. If I can get through this without crying, I'm going to try my best. Karin got dealt a lousy hand in life, but you know that. She was able to make it through whatever was handed her and spit out the rest. You also know that. She was very hard-headed, spoiled rotten. I loved her to death. She was very, very precious to me. And I had the blessing of being with her when she took her last breath and left this earth. I can't express what a blessing that was. Sorry. I've never been with anyone before when they passed, and I didn't want to be. I was afraid, you know. It's like, I don't want to really be part of that. But the nurses asked me, could I please explain to her it's okay to let go? They had told her repeatedly, and she wasn't listening. Karin, she wasn't listening. They said a family member needed to say that to her, so I sat down by her, put my hand on her arm, and Aunt Norma's always trying to make something funny out of something serious. So I began by telling her, hey, today is Christmas Eve. Duh, that means tomorrow's Christmas Day. And I was just thinking, wouldn't it be a great surprise if you were to go up to heaven and meet Mommy and Daddy and Grandma and Uncle John and Aunt Dorothy and all of our pets that have gone before us and say, surprise, I'm here. And I said, oh, there's rules in heaven. I know you don't like rules. I know how you always like to say, bite me when you're upset with something. You can't say that when you get to heaven, okay? And so I just, tried to make a light of it, and I told her that a little bird told me that she was afraid. And I said, there's nothing to be afraid of. You're fixing to stand before God. How could you be anything but excited? And you're going to see all your relatives again. That's just awesome. So if you're hanging on for us, of course we're going to miss you. But let go. And go up to heaven where you belong now. No more pain, no more suffering. Your body's going to be whole again. You get to see Mommy and Daddy and give them a hug and have a good time. Plus, remember you wanted to see if God allowed Christmas decorations in heaven. Now's your chance. So I was sitting there holding her hand and telling her all this, and then I explained I had to go sit down and prop my foot up. I got a bad leg that swells, so I was going to sit down and put it up, let the swelling go down. I no sooner sat down, and her breathing changed. So I stood up and I watched, and she had stopped breathing prior to this, but for 20 to 30 minutes at a time, and she would start breathing again. So when she stopped breathing, I didn't really think a whole lot about it because I've seen it before, except this time she stopped breathing for a longer period of time. So I got up to push the button for the nurse, and she walked in. And I told her I was just fixing to call her, and she said, "You had your talk with her, didn't you?" I said, "Yes, I did." So she said, "Okay, let's see what's going on." And the next time Karin stopped breathing, it was 1 minute and 45 seconds. That's a long time. But then she took the one final breath. And then she let it out. And the nurse was timing this. I had to guess maybe 2 minutes. And the nurse said, "That's it, she's gone. Your talk did some good. She's finally let go, she's gone." And you can hug her and touch her and whatever you want to do. So we had a few minutes alone. And I don't know if any of you have ever been with someone when they've taken their last breath, but I'm here to tell you, it was a real blessing to witness that, to be there for her. It's just awesome. It was really awesome. So I had told her to look for all the pets, and if she saw any of them, tell them I loved them and I'd see them again someday. We had a dog named Missy. We have a dog today named Maggie. Every time I went to say something about Maggie, my mouth said Missy. I did that 3 times before I realized, she's found Missy. Missy said, "Hi, Mommy. Love you. See you soon." And once I realized why I kept saying Missy instead of Maggie, I stopped doing that. So the message got back, I guess, that I'd received the message and I was okay. The very day that Karin passed away, I'd called one of my dear friends, whose name is Dixie, and letting her know it had happened and everything. And she sent me back a poem about 20 minutes after that. And she said, "Norma, this is perfect. You got to read this." And I was like, I don't know if I can make it through that or not. But I feel like Dixie does. It's Karin's way of saying, I made it. I'm here. I'm having Christmas with Jesus Christ. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with it or not, but I'd like to read it. Bear with me. Remember, this happened Christmas Eve. So it's talking about spending Christmas, which we know is past, but and the name of it is, I'm spending Christmas with Jesus Christ this year. I see the countless Christmas trees around the world below, with tiny lights like heaven's stars reflecting on the snow. The sight is so spectacular, please wipe away that tear, for I'm spending Christmas with Jesus Christ this year. I hear the many Christmas songs that people hold so dear, but the sounds of music can't compare with the Christmas choir up here. I have no words to tell you the joy their voices bring, for it is beyond description to hear the angels sing. I can't tell you of the splendor or the peace here in this place. Can you just imagine Christmas with our Savior face to face? I'll ask him to light your spirit as I tell him of your love. So then pray for one another as I lift your eyes above. Please let your hearts be joyful and let your spirit sing. For I'm spending Christmas in heaven and I'm walking with the King. Thank you, guys. There's a couple of people that want to come up and say something. Denise is one of them.
Ladies first.
Okay, I'm sorry. Something goes first. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Dawn Ferris, and I met Karin in 1990 when I started working at K-Love in Dallas. Karin was doing promotions, and we just hit it off right away, and she was such a great person to have there because we were close in age, and we just kind of were kindred spirits around a lot of people that were quite a bit older than us. And one particular memory I have is I was a huge David Cassidy fan, and I came into the office and there was a message with the receptionist. She had taken a written message for me, and it was from Karin, and I think she was working at the Eagle at the time, and she was making sure I knew that David Cassidy was coming to town. He was going to be at Cadillac Jack's, and the time and everything. And I was so excited, and I was able to make it and met him and called her and told her about it, and of course shared a picture later, and she was so happy for me. And it's just a great memory I have of somebody that just kind of paid attention to what was important, what was something fun that I cared about, and took the time to reach out to me and make sure I was able to be a part of that. So I had seen her throughout the years when she worked at country stations in Dallas whenever I was coming by to visit them, and just a wonderful person, and I'm very, very sad at the loss of her, but so thankful that I was able to be her friend, and sorry that I can't be with you all today, but I hope it's a wonderful, wonderful celebration of a wonderful life.
So my name is Denise, and I'm just a longtime friend of Karen's, and I'm not good at public speaking. That's why I never could do anything in radio, but I'm I know she wouldn't want me to be sad, so I'm just trying to think of some of the more lighthearted stories I can share. She and I just always had the same type of sense of humor, and we just really, really liked hanging out together. I was just so fortunate that she always had the good hookup in radio, so she could get the cool tickets. And I was lucky enough to be invited to so many different events and parties and just weddings, going away parties, and she was such a good friend to me. I was thinking about a lot of the things that I'm going to miss about her, and I think the biggest thing is just going to be our phone conversations. I could always tell when she called what the call was going to be about, because there was 3 ways that she would call me. She'd call and say, "Hey, you." That was just going to be a call to just kind of shoot the crap, just to talk. And if she said, "Hey, guess what?" I knew there was a last-minute show invitation. And then if she said, Denise, I knew that she just had some funny story to tell me. And I'll miss all of our conversations. She was always kind of the protector. She, if y'all ever rode with her and you were in the front seat, if she had to slam on her brakes, she was the one to throw her arm across you. And just a couple of quick concert stories that came to mind. She took me to an Aerosmith show that was at one of these racetracks. I don't know, one of the big racetracks here. It was on the way there that she said, "Oh, by the way, did I tell you that this is like some big motorcycle rally convention?" And I was like, "Mm-mm." And she said, "Well, I just didn't want you to be surprised when we get there." So we park and we make our way through about 40,000 Harley Davidsons that are parked in the parking lot. And and it was a great show. It was fun, no trouble, nobody gave us any problem. And during the show, I was like, "Karen, I have to go to the bathroom." And she was like, "Do you want me to go with you?" I was like, "No, I think I'll be okay." But it was just always an adventure. We sure put a lot of miles on her little light blue Mustang back in the day. We went to so many shows around Texas and Louisiana and Oklahoma. And I just wanted to share one last thing, and this is kind of for her too. Back in the 80s, there was a group called Duran Duran that was in its heyday, and she got tickets to the show. And she had told me that she was going to take me backstage. And so we were sitting in separate sections, and in between the opening act and their show, I went to find her. Well, she had already gone backstage with somebody else. And years later, she was telling the story, and she was like, "You remember, you went backstage?" And I was like, "No, you didn't take me backstage." So I just want it on record, Karen. You did not take me backstage to Duran Duran. Just want to be clear about that. But she kind of took me under her wing. I don't know why, but I've had a really hard time just letting go. And so it was quite fitting that I ran across this little story, and I'll close with this. I just kind of felt like it was something that she wanted me to see. So let me read it too. Yes, I need readers. So this says, "When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not for long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the fun that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this journey that we all must take, and each must go alone, it's all a part of the Master's plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick at heart, go to the friends we know. Bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go."
This is John Shambi, and the thing I remember most about Karin was the first thing I saw, her smile. Something I would see every morning when I walk in, when I'd leave at night. She was always smiling, and she always did her work with a smile. She always was interested in what she was doing. She was passionate about what she was doing, and she was always smiling. I will never forget that smile. The other thing I won't forget is her passion for music. If she believed in a song, she would drive me nuts until we played that song. But that was Karin. Karin believed in something, she would stick to it. She would make sure it happened. And that was something I really, really admired about her. When Facebook came into being, later in the years, Karin and I reconnected, and she would periodically check in just to ask about the family, which was so nice to have reconnected with her. Karin, you will be missed.
Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over. So many things that I wanna say. You know I love my girls a little bit older. I just wanna use your love tonight. I don't wanna lose your love tonight.
Hey, this is Greg Southard, aka Shadow Hayes, aka The Jammer. When I first came to Dallas, Texas, one of the first people that I met was Karin and Denise, and they made me feel so welcome, and they were as friendly and helpful to get me acclimated to the new city that I moved to. I couldn't have asked for better friends. I remember the goofy times we would play around, voicing the Arthur movie together. I still got a picture of all of us with Charlie Sexton when he came to visit Dallas at the KAFN studios. It was great. I was sad to see that she had passed on, and know that she touched a lot of our lives in a positive way. But one of the good things to come out of it is reconnecting with some old friends like Denise. And for that, I'll be forever grateful. Again, I'll credit that to Karin. She will be missed. She was much loved.
Paul Donovan, to my friends in Dallas. I worked with Karin at KAFM back in the 80s, and I was shocked to hear the news. I don't have a whole lot really to say except that I have nothing but great memories of Karin, many good memories. Runs, late night runs to Whataburger, I miss that. And I guess when I think about Karin, I always think about her smiling and always laughing. So I appreciate the time that I did have with her. I still to this day picture her the way that she was when I last saw her way back in 1985. So hello to everybody, miss you guys, and hope you're well. And I have one last thing for Karin. Maybe some will understand this one. Bababoo-ba. Maybe that was just between me and Karin, I don't know. And the dog man says hi. Thanks for letting me share this.
My name's Linda, friend of Karen's. some of you I recognize. Nice to see you. Nice to meet your family. We've been emailing and stuff, so it's nice to put faces on. Had a chance to do something really interesting with Karin, and that was write her obit.
Let me just say a couple of things I learned about Karin through the process is that, what did she say? She said, this probably would have been easier if I had been on less drugs. Probably so. The other thing she said was about family. She loved her family, but she, didn't have a lot of family. She said, when it comes to being a single child, I do not recommend it. She also said that one of her last radio jobs was her favorite. And she worked with Pete Ditz. And she said that that was a really great experience. That after all the radio jobs she had had, it was kind of nice to wrap it up with a group that she said, a lot of not so nice things are written about this particular broadcast group, but she was just really pleased with how they took care of her. I also asked her for, I said, do you have a thought about your life, or if what would you want people to remember you by? And she said, really, it all comes down to just 2 words, and that's bite me. Now, when we were first starting to write the obit, she said, I don't even know that anybody even cares. I mean, who really cares about hearing about my life? It really doesn't matter. And that was on the first or second day she was in hospice. JD and I were lucky enough to go that first day and to sit with her, and she was pretty alert. We got through a lot of information. She remembered a lot of details. That's it. If you went to go see her, there was a notebook in there that had all kinds of stuff that we were writing down. And so she's pretty good. We got through a lot of that. The next time I saw her was with Curtis, who edited the picture that you guys see on your program. And she was starting to get a little bit loopy. The drugs were really starting to kick in. She kept talking about us being in her world at that moment, we were on a cruise ship and we were cutting in line trying to get to the fresh chocolate chip cookies before she could. And it wasn't fair because she'd been in line longer and all this kind of stuff. It was crazy. Drugs were really good. But what was interesting was how she started the obit process thinking nobody's going to care about her life. And then people kept texting and calling and sending videos, and people would drop by. She told me all about, Robin and Stubby. Even the nurses were saying, there was some guy here named Stubby. And how she just lit up. And then one day I'd gotten there and there was a note from Pete Ditz. It was a really sweet note. I guess when you went to visit, she was kind of sleepy, so she wasn't aware. But they read that to her when she did wake up, and that made her smile. There were so many videos and stuff that after a while, she because of the drugs, had a difficult time managing, even though it was a pretty big cell phone, but had a difficult time managing her cell phone. And so we were kind of helping read these messages to her and show her pictures. People were sending her pictures of, do you remember us when we did this? And stuff like that. And towards the end, it was almost like she goes, I'm so surprised. All these people really cared. And it just made her feel so good about it. We talked about being just spirits having this human experience. And just for this minute, just for right now. I mean, even if you lived at 80 or 90, that's a vapor. That's nothing. It's a second. And she talked about being just ready to go on to the next thing. And the next thing she said was, I just want to spend Christmas with my dad. I want to see my dad. I want to go. So she was not afraid of dying. She was not afraid of what was next. She was actually kind of looking forward to it. And but I can't begin to tell you how thankful she was and how much she smiled when I went to go look at the flowers the second day I'd gone, and Robin and Stubby had dropped off flowers. And I was reading the card to go, oh, look, Robin and Stubby. And she just, again, lit up again. She goes, isn't that so nice? I was like, right, that's so nice. Little things that people had done for her, whether it was a little toy that they left for her or whatever. It was just, even the nurses that would come by and leave her little bags of chocolate chip cookies, which I think is what she was hallucinating about. All of those little bitty things. And then she still had kind of a crazy, twisted sense of humor towards the end. It was Christmas, we're kind of playing Christmas songs, and she's joking about the nurse calling her Beyonce because she thinks she can sing and all this kind of stuff. And it was not a bad time. It was not a bad time. So right before Christmas, you could tell she was starting to fade a little faster, and our last few moments with her were just loving on her and playing her Christmas songs. And I can tell you she had a really grateful heart, and she was thankful for
everybody who took a minute out of their day to just say, I love you. And Karin would say, bite me.
Hi, my name's Pete. I wasn't going to say anything, but any reason to take off this mask is probably good. I just feel compelled to say something because I've known Karin a long time, and like so many people in the radio business, you don't work with somebody once, you work with them like 2 or 3 times. And back in the ABC radio days in Arlington, you know, Karin worked for us there, and you know, that's how she knew, you know, Greg and Linda and Michelle and some of the other folks, and me as well. Although I never worked with her, I knew about Karin's reputation for just being a fantastic employee. I mean, she did great work. And I know sometimes when somebody passes, you don't really remember them for what they did professionally, but she was the consummate professional. So years later, you know, I'm at iHeartRadio, and Steve Dinger and I are working together, and Becky Ray. And it's about 3 years ago, almost exactly. I had an assistant position open. And, you know, I've been in management a long time, and, you know, sometimes, you know, you look at a lot of candidates and you get hundreds of resumes and that sort of thing, and then somebody out of the blue, an angel says, hey, Karin Crosby's available, and she'd like to get back into the radio business. She's working at FedEx. I'm like, all right, you know, and that's, I guess, the way the radio business is. It's sort of like, it's like the mafia, you just can't leave it, right? You know, you just keep coming in, keep pulling me back in. So it was when somebody said Karin's name, I was like, that's it, I know her, and she's available, and she wants to come back to radio, and so things sort of escalated very, very quickly, and, you know, we were fortunate enough to hire her, and, you know, Steve can attest to this, and Becky as well. I mean, there's nothing that she wouldn't do, and it's funny to hear some people talk about her dogged perseverance, because if we had a discrepancy of any kind, Karin would be, she's like a detective. Like, if she was a detective, she would have been a great detective. Like, there would have been no case unsolved. There would have been no cold cases under her watch, because she would have found a way to, you know, get to the bottom of it and root it out. And that's the kind of professional she was. Any night when I was working late, she was working later. Like, Karin, you gotta go home. I mean, it could be 7 o'clock, and I had no doubt she was gonna stay until late, until the job was done. And, you know, she was just fantastic. I mean, she was just a joy to work with, you know. I mean, but we're gonna miss her from a personality standpoint. She was kind of like, she kind of was the one in the office that kept the office in order, right, Steve? You know, she kind of kept us in line a little bit. You know, and I mean that in a good way, in a really, really good way. You know, she, and I'm not a big Facebooker, but about a month ago, Steve said, have you seen what Karin posted? And I went to Facebook, I went to her Facebook site, and it's like, my God, the outpouring. I'm sure this is probably the worst time to have a service like this, you know, with the weather, and it's New Year's and all that, and the holidays, and everybody else in our office is out of town, or they would be here. I don't think the showing here is really reflective of the kind of support and love that she had. In that Facebook post, it was, you know, she kind of revealed her situation. She was very transparent, right, you know, and just the outpouring, all the people, and all the names of people in radio that I hadn't thought about in years, that, you know, it's just amazing how many people that she worked with, and how many people she touched, and how many people really loved her. So We're gonna miss you, Karin. She was awesome. So, thank you.
I must be leaving soon.